last main hero is here. Let's check out Leif and see how he works. Let's get his digits. Wow, look at that speed, that's incredible. Let's not look at that attack. It's not bad, but it's not good, and we're gonna see that basically echoed throughout everything that we're gonna do here. But at least he has that awesome, nice boost to BST, so you know, he has a big place in this arena. Let's take a look at what he swings with Light Brand. This sword gives him additional defense and has a neat little spin on things. If the opponent has 5 higher defense compared to its own resistance, then you get an additional 7 damage on your hit, which is probably going to be 2 hits. So really, you're looking at plus 14 damage against something that has a heck of a lot higher defense than resistance, and really not even a heck of a lot higher. 5 is not that big of a discrepancy, so really anything that is built to tank physical hits and isn't meant to be something that tanks anything you want it to, he's going to get that extra 7 damage, and that is huge. If we take a look at the rest of his kit, he has Blazing Light. This is a wonderful, wonderful skill. In my opinion, it's my favorite out of all the area damage ones that we've got, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but dealing 1.5 times damage to everybody within a nice little crisscross pattern in front of you. Then we're taking a look at his pass. Steady Blow, giving him a bonus to speed and to defense. This is very important. He needs to keep that defense going because his hit points are really bad. Nothing that we're not used to from Sword Lords and others that sort of fit in that same niche, but regardless, we need defense, and having that extra speed there ensures that we're just doubling everybody. It's Christmas here, guys. It's wonderful. His B slot is S Drink. I don't know what S stands for. Soda? Soft drink? Maybe it's soft drink. I don't know. Regardless, whenever he's drinking Pepsi, what this does is that at the first round of every combat, which means in Arena this happens once, and in something like Tempest Trials, Chain Challenges is going to happen all the time. He gets a cooldown bonus of 1, basically like Quick Impulse, and he heals 99 hit points. That is awesome. So instead of like Renewal going along, Quick Impulse just like doing its thing, you have a very hefty B slot skill here that's going to do that for you. So at least, even if you keep this on an arena build, it's going to act like Quick Impulse. So now we have a 3 cooldown on that nice area damage special we got going on. And then he has Drive Attack as the C slot just to help everybody out, and I think that's really nice of him. Let's talk some builds, and we always talk budget builds at first, and here's sort of the problem I sort of see, that Mountain Dew is good whenever you have Tempest Trials and Chain Challenges. However, if you're going to go ahead and keep Sprite on him whenever he is going into Arena, it's going to help. It's not going to be terrible. As a matter of fact, you'll see that in some of the builds that we're going to keep it. But we could do some tweaking here, and if you don't have a lot of resources to dump into Leif, we could go ahead and just adjust a few things here so we can get him going. So for this first build, we're going to go ahead and keep Dr. Pepper, and we're going to give him Bonfire. If you're like nervous that you're just going to dominate too much with this AoE, or if you're just not used to them, then you know what, switch out to Bonfire, because here's what's going to happen, okay? We're going to go ahead and initiate on somebody, they're going to thwack us back, and then thanks to the power of 7-Up, we've got Bonfire nice and charged, and we're just going to lay into people, and we just turn into this really lethal, aggressive unit. It is great. We have some good marks all over the place. You can see the aggressor rating up here. The aggressor rating is the rating that we use to represent exactly how much of a one-hit kill potential he has, and you're going to see that he actually has quite a lot of one-hit kill potential here and in other builds that we're going to do. But that's all the tweaking we need to do here. You know, just go ahead and substitute in Bonfire, and then you could still take him into Arena, but this is meant to bring you back sort of to a safe zone. If you don't really want to use his AoE as built, then go ahead and give him Bonfire. He's going to go ahead and do really well for you, and all those other Chain Challenge, Tempest Trial boards, he's wonderful. Next, we're going to go ahead and get rid of Coca-Cola for Swordbreaker. What's going on here? He already has a high enough speed. Why do you need more? Well, here's the thing, is you're not doubling any of those fast red units, so you need to have this on him. You might want to go ahead and switch out to something like Red Tomebreaker. You could go ahead and adjust this, but I recommend Swordbreaker to make sure that you can stay on top of all of those jerks, because they tend to have just enough speed that without any kind of additional oomph, that sometimes you end up not doubling them. So go ahead and put in Swordbreaker here. You're going to want to downgrade your weapon special to something that only requires 2 turns to charge. If you don't have Ginger Ale in your B slot, then what you're going to need to do is have something that's going to go ahead and just basically charge itself. So I recommend Moonbow in this particular case. He's just way too weak on the attack in order to actually use Glimmer. So no, just stick with Moonbow, put that on him, and then he's going to go ahead and have a lot of great performance in this particular realm as well. And so this is something that you could go ahead and adjust if you want to stay on top of all the Sword Lords, make them have a great dueling matchup against pretty much anything else still, and be able to handle PvP Arena really well. This is a great option for you. As we meander on over into full builds, I do want to let you know that without a lot of buff support, Desperation is not his friend. He has the speed for it, he doesn't have the attack for it, he relies on the special procking and going off. So unless you are like going to go ahead and just run Marth or somebody behind him that's going to buff the crap out of him, it's not worth it. Don't make him a desperation machine. He's not desperate, he's a lord, okay? Treat him that way. So I've got 2 complete builds for you. The first one, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give him Ignis, and we're going to go ahead and remove his current A slot and put in Flashing Blade. A lot of people want to do that anyway. Let's check it out. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and keep Surge here for the B slot, and what Jolt's going to do for us here is actually pretty nice, and this is actually a good sort of Omni build as far as you could just keep the same build on, take him to Tempest Trial and Chain Challenges, take him to Arena. He's going to do wonderful as it is. Before I talk too much about this, I want to say I usually don't do this when I do a build, but he has to have plus speed for this build to work. He loves plus speed for several reasons, but he needs plus speed for this to work. I'm sorry, I usually don't lock you into a particular IV, but full disclosure. His Aggressor and Duelist ratings are wonderful. This is some of the best that we have seen out of recent units, actually. It's sort of sad, but true. He's doing very well for us. If you're sitting here going, oh, well, he's just another Sword Lord, yeah, he's just another great Sword Lord. And his Duelist rating is really good, and this is important. He's being saved a lot because of his speed. His defense is nice, especially with his light brand that he's got. 33 is acceptable, and his high speed is what's keeping him on the battlefield so long. He can run up there and hit a mage, and even if he doesn't kill the mage, which is potentially there, he'll go ahead and take a hit from magic, and he lives! Not because he has great resistance, but because he has the speed to not get doubled, so then he just retaliates and he can keep going. Not to mention, as we were talking about before with Fanta there, he's able to just keep on healing, he's able to get the cooldown charge that he needs. This is just fantastic. Let's go into the DPT, Deltran's PvP threats, link down the doobly-doo to the document that I use to evaluate all of these matchups and all of these builds. I find this to be very important because, one, it helps narrow down the conversation so that we can actually easily talk and discuss how good these heroes are, and secondly, I think it's very important to take a look and see what's out there in the meta, see what is stupid powerful, and see how we stack up against it, because ultimately that's a great way to build your team. 14 and 9 on offense, 7 and not so great on defense, but this is a player phase build for sure. Leif really is a player phase unit, in my opinion. You could go ahead and build him in the generic crunk defensive way, but he's not going to pull through for you that well, so I don't recommend that. Player phase is great for him, and if you take a look at this, I mean, he has a lot of good wins to him. Even switching out everything, the Ignis is going to give him a wonderful pop. And I have a note around here somewhere, maybe it was already here, maybe it'll be back now. I'm a terrible editor. I shouldn't have snapped my fingers. Anyway, what you're gonna see here is that there are some substitutions you can make, but there's no reason to. You can keep a lot of what he's got going for him. And Ignis is gonna charge up really quick. It's gonna just slam into people, and you need to have that extra pop of damage, and it's gonna actually carry you pretty far. Not as far as maybe you'd want to see in the DPT, which is a little unfortunate. But once again, these guys are like best of the best. The builds are just insane. You need to make sure you're really on top of it. Plus, whenever I evaluate DPT builds, the enemies have buffs. They have a generous supply of buffs, okay? Leif in this case doesn't have any buffs, okay? He doesn't have any buffs. So that's one thing we need to keep in mind whenever we're taking a look at this. On the flip side, 7 and 16 it's actually not bad for a unit that's not enemy phase. I mean, that's what you'd expect. You don't want to just go ahead and leave him out there to be pegged by Reinhardt, okay? You want to be able to actually move and skip around, so that's going to help you out a lot there if you actually play him intelligently. He doesn't have the kind of strength that lets you just ham-handedly throw him in the middle of the field like dragons do or something like that right now. You need to have that little bit of extra finesse, but it really pays off, and Light Brand actually just does so much for you in this particular case. I love it. But now we're going to talk about a build that doesn't use Light Brand. Let's go ahead and see what happens whenever we switch out to a Wu Dao. Now this is pretty interesting because actually if you take a look at the ratings here, they're not as good as the last build, but here is the crux of the situation. The idea here is that the previous build really looked at the breadth of the field, okay? It said like, oh, there's lots of threats, all kinds of things, and sure, some of them might be super powerful, but you need to be able to handle a wide range of them. And that's what that build specializes in. This one, you can see its breadth is a little bit narrower, not tons, but enough that it makes it a little cringeworthy. Honestly, a lot of that's coming from blue, but you are losing more fights pretty much in every category on this particular one. Let's go into the DPT, and we're going to see here that we're doing a heck of a lot better. 23 kills on initiation. This is really built for depth, okay? So if you have one of those souped up meta builds, there's a chance you're not going to handle Leif. That is the reason why this one exists. He actually can target several different meta things. Not everything, but enough that it makes it a pain. You sort of look at it, you might even laugh if you see a Wu Dao on this Sword Lord out there, and that would be a mistake because you pretty much just lost your deathless streak at that point. If you go ahead and build Leif this way, you're going to get a lot more kills within the DPT, which means all the more souped up builds, all the ones that are being optimized and tweaked out so that they're unstoppable, well, guess what? Wu Dao Leif has their number. It's great. I like to be able to see a build like this, like going a little bit rogue so that you can just surprise your opponent and devastate them. These are the kind of builds I get excited about, guys. I hate giving up special passives and special weapons whenever I do a build, but this is really special. I like to see this, and unlike the previous build, this one is not reliant on speed. You could go with speed, you could go with attack, whatever you want to do is fine, but it really only goes up from here, especially if you give it any kind of buff support, if you give it any kind of IVs that are good. I mean, this is going to catch a lot of people off guard. I think it's fun. Give it a try. And that's what I have for you. He's a leaf in the wind. Let's watch him soar. Oh gosh, that actually makes me sad. I'm sorry if you're sad too. Let me know down in the comments if you know where that reference comes from. If you don't worry about admitting it. Just let me know what you're going to do with your leaf. And do me a favor, if you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like Grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time, take it easy.